Backbush TV, like and subscribe. And welcome back to another vlog. And big up to all of my subscribers. You know what I mean? And give thanks for life, because life are the greatest. But Backbush TV, we don't see how Melissa mash up Jamaica already. So bet we just jump in it and catch the info. Aftermark of Melissa. Because the bitch I see. And the man them whole are see. Backbush TV, like and subscribe. We're going out.
Jesus Christ!
When Hurricane Melissa came ashore,
Oh God! Lord!
it was assessed as among the most powerful storms ever to have formed in the Atlantic Basin. And that was clear to see, with Jamaica now enduring one of the most harrowing days in its history. Landfall took place on the southwest side of the island. The images that emerged from these parishes spoke of the intensity of this storm and how much damage it was capable of inflicting. No infrastructure was likely to be able to absorb such punishment. And for those barricaded inside homes, watching the destruction through windows and gates, the scenes outside were terrifying to glimpse. In the hours before it came ashore, US reconnaissance aircraft once again flew close to the wall of the eye of Melissa and reported winds that were peaking at nearly 200 miles per hour. Compact and slow, in many ways this was the perfect storm that only intensified as it passed over the warm waters of the Western Caribbean. Power surges on the island were among the first signs of the arrival of the outer bands of the hurricane. So too were roads that quickly became rivers. A colossal quantity of rain is expected to fall over the next 24 hours. The slow-moving nature of the hurricane, one of its most lethal characteristics. A government minister said Jamaicans must stay in their shelters until the danger is past.
Jamaica, this is not the time to be brave. I've been saying for 1 week, don't bet against Melissa. It is a bet we can't win.
One woman who has battened down in the hardest hit parish of all is Ava Lee Shang.
Winds been getting heavier. You can hear it. The winds actually hitting the roof now. Quite a number of the trees to the backyard have been stripped bare, so there are leaves flying everywhere. Looking out, I can see some property damage. I'm trusting in God to keep us safe. We have done all that we can. Don't panic. Don't be anxious. We're going to get through this.
Jesus have mercy, God. Look on the road.
It will take many days to assess the extent of the damage, especially in more remote communities inland, where connectivity and communications have been disrupted most. But the early indications suggest this storm, so late in the hurricane season, has exacted severe damage on infrastructure and agriculture. This was a scene outside one of the main hospitals on the island as it struggled to stay operational. Jamaica is left tonight still in the grip of Melissa and waiting.
Okay. Go, 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 go. Go, go, go. Glass, glass.
go that way. There's glass. Down. Go. Move fast, man. Let's go. Get down. All right. That used to be a balcony.
If I can fly off. Look there, the kettle drop. Hold him.
I can't reach the water too high.
Lord God, watch out.
I don't get a chance to leave my house as yet, but I have never in my life seen anything like this. Not even when watching social media and someone create a video by AI. This is devastation beyond, you know, something that someone can bear. Right here, it was a chicken farm with hundreds of chicken in it. There was a next chicken farm right there. There was a couple of houses down there. All those houses gone. Around 4 more houses out that side gone. Couple more houses down there gone. A next house right there gone. I still don't get a chance to go out there to know what's happening. So far, we don't hear that, you know, anyone lose any life. We have a group of friends who just come and, you know, talk to me and give me some, you know, highlights of what is happening in the community. Several houses gone, family. We don't even get to go out and know what.
Georgia City.
From them build that road around there and block off all of the go to them. We used to take the water from that side.
So you can't run up at any time, you know. What's there? No, man. Watch it. New gully, see there? Team there. We just talk about it, look there. No disrespect. We just talk about this. Cave-in power right away. Right as we attack, a cave-in power. See there? Just like a while as we have video cave-in.
Montego Bay today.
And look at these flooded street roads completely inundated as raging waters rush in. The warning from officials tonight, displaced crocodiles could be lurking in the water, and that is not a joke. Moments ago, the Prime Minister of Jamaica telling Top Story tonight his biggest concern is damage done to multiple hospitals. You can see that roof ripped apart on this one. The full scope of the devastation and potential loss of life on the island, not yet in full view. The Prime Minister also telling us it's still too dangerous for search and rescue teams to go out. We'll have that full conversation with the Prime Minister straight ahead. 25,000 tourists, though, still trapped on the island, some barricading themselves in hotel ballrooms like this. Melissa's next targets, Cuba, then the Bahamas, both bracing for direct hits. We have full team coverage tonight. Our reporter live in the storm zone and our meteorologist Al Roker standing by to time it all out. But we begin tonight in Jamaica, where NBC's George Solis is in the storm zone.
Tonight, a devastating direct hit. Melissa slamming into Jamaica as a catastrophic Category 5 hurricane, pummeling the island with 185-mile-an-hour winds and torrential rain. The monster storm unleashing raging floodwaters and life-threatening storm surge, tearing roofs from homes and knocking out power for hundreds of thousands. This was the terrifying scene inside a hospital as Melissa ripped through. Tonight, officials cautioning people to avoid flooded areas where crocodiles may lurk.
Kingston may have been spared the worst of Melissa, but we are still experiencing those strong tropical force storm winds.
Before Melissa's historic landfall, officials had this dire final warning.
Don't bet against Melissa. It is a bet we can't win.
Melissa roared ashore midday in New Hope on the southwestern coast before slicing across the island to the resorts of Montego Bay.
Unfortunately, it's here.
It's here.
Wind has been pretty gnarly this morning.
Officials say some 25,000 tourists are stranded.
We were advised to put one of our mattresses on the window and barricade it with the tables that we have in the room.
People staying at this Montego Bay hotel were evacuated to the ballroom, where they rode out the storm huddled together on the floor.
Yeah, the beach is just devastated.
Christina and Tony Malscioti were in Negril celebrating their 10th anniversary. Like many tourists, they scrambled to try and get out before airports closed, but their flight was canceled, leaving them stranded.
It was horrific. It was absolutely terrifying. And I think it was more for the fear of not knowing. I've broken down several times just crying. You know, I don't want to end my life here.
Melissa tying the record for the strongest Atlantic storm to ever make landfall. This was the reaction from our meteorologist at NBC6 in Miami, getting an update on the storm's unbelievable strength live on air.
Oh, my Jesus Christ.
The storm so dangerous, a Hurricane Hunter flight gathering data had to turn back for the second day in a row. Evacuations are now underway in Cuba, which is bracing for impact. While here in Jamaica, it could take weeks to fully assess the full scope of Melissa's devastation.
These whipping winds expected to be with us through tonight. Now, Jamaican officials hope that they are able to assess the nation's airports tomorrow, both the one in Montego Bay and here in Kingston, to start some of those relief flights and bring help to those areas that have been devastated by Hurricane Melissa. Tom?
George Solis for us tonight. George, thank you. Let's get right over to Al Roker. Al, Hurricane Melissa now one of the strongest Atlantic hurricanes on record, stronger than Hurricane Katrina. Walk us through what you're watching right now and where it is.
Okay, so here we have right now, you can see that eye just making its way now across Jamaica, 15 miles east of Montego Bay, 145 mile per hour. Still a Category 4 storm. It's moving northeast at 8. This system has been moving relatively slowly, Tom. So as it pushes further to the north, it still is taking its time dumping tons of rain. Now, what's made this so strong? Well, the ocean waters are about 2.5 degrees warmer than average. So this rapid intensification, the strength of this storm, likely 700 times more likely due to human-caused climate change, which has created this monster storm, Tom.
Yeah, and then where's it headed from there? We can see the tail end there of eastern Cuba, and it looks like it's going to be a bullseye.
Yes, that's right. So right now we've got these tropical storm warnings. We've also got hurricane warnings right up through the Bahamas. This thing makes landfall sometime early tomorrow morning in Cuba, staying a Category 4 across the area, and then the rainfall amounts going to really exacerbate landslides, mudslides. We've talking about rainfall amounts anywhere from 5 to 15 inches of rain, and then the thing rockets off. It hits the Bahamas, the eastern chain of the islands there, but as a Category 3, and then continues, even still threatening Bermuda, Tom, as a Category 2 storm.
Yeah, and then, Al, you've covered a lot of these storms. I have as well. I can tell you what concerns me is that we're not seeing a lot of what's happening in Jamaica right now. And even speaking to the Prime Minister, we're going to hear from him a little later. It's unclear, the picture. That concerns me. What about you?
Well, I think just the strength of this system has really kind of, in a sense, not so much surprised us, because we started talking about this back on October 12th. And here we are now today still talking about Melissa, a monster storm. So the idea, what concerns me most, we didn't really have that many strong storms in the Atlantic to churn up the water. So this was really a powder keg waiting to blow with the right storm. And Melissa turned out to be that right storm.
All right, Al Roker, I know you're going to be watching this in the days ahead. Earlier tonight, as I mentioned, I spoke with Jamaica's Prime Minister, Andrew Holness, about the impact of Hurricane Melissa and the status of his people. Prime Minister Holness, we thank you for taking the time to speak with us and update us on how your people are doing tonight. How is it right now in Jamaica?
Jamaica has sustained a major impact from a Category 5 hurricane, one of the strongest hurricanes to have hit Jamaica, and certainly within the top 10 strongest hurricanes recorded. The corridor of damage is significant. We have lost hospitals. Certainly, our road infrastructure would have been damaged, which would include bridges, gullies, and waterways. The housing infrastructure would have been severely impacted in the corridor that the hurricane traveled. The hurricane hit the southwestern end of the island and crossed the island going northwards, and it should be now leaving the island, but behind it is a trail of destruction in the corridor of impact.
Prime Minister, I pick up that you're speaking in the past tense. Is that because you already know some of this, or you haven't been able to get communication because all that communication has been knocked out?
Well, you know, when you're hit by a Category 5 hurricane, it's highly unlikely that you will be able to have communications uninterrupted. So in some parts of the island, communication is down. Electricity would be down as well, some preemptively. But we are still able to keep contact right across Jamaica. So what I'm giving you would be the summary of reports to date, to this point.
Is it fair to say, because the hurricane is still over Jamaica, you truly have no sense of how bad the damage is right now?
No, we are getting reports. We're getting assessment through our National Emergency Operation Committee. So we do have a sense of what the damage is, but clearly, it would only be after the passage of the hurricane and it is safe to conduct proper damage assessment that we will see the full picture. But the picture right now suggests that damage within the corridor of impact is significant.
What has been the most concerning report you've gotten so far from anyone out there in Jamaica?
Well, the impact on our hospital system in the areas that have been impacted, at least 2 or 3 hospitals have been severely damaged. Clearly, impact on our road infrastructure. We have seen landslides and rivers retaking their original courses and destroying property along their banks. And of course, the loss of roofs and housing.
Have you gotten any reports about any loss of life, or is it simply too early?
Well, we have confirmed 3 lives lost before the impact of the hurricane, before landfall of the hurricane. And those persons were, by all reports, taking precautionary actions in cutting through trees and removing debris, and were the victims of accidents, unfortunately. So far, we have not had confirmed reports of any deaths, but again, it's too soon to say that there are no deaths.
What is your understanding of Montego Bay right now? There were many people who were unable to leave Jamaica that were there, I should say, on vacation, and were essentially trapped. They're at the resorts right now in those ballrooms. Have you had communication with any of those hotels? Do you understand how those tourists are doing?
I've had a preliminary report from the Minister of Tourism, who would have given an assessment that some hotels were damaged, that there is damage to our airport. I can't say to what extent, but we have a fairly robust response plan, and the tourism industry is always prepared, knowing that we are in this zone where we could be impacted by hurricanes. So I know that they're doing the best they can, and that the provisions will be made to ensure that our guests and Jamaicans alike are in a safe place at this time.
We're seeing video of roofs ripped off buildings and hearing reports of people stranded by the floodwaters. Give us an update on the status of search and rescue operations. Have those started, or is it still too dangerous?
It's still too dangerous to do search and rescue. I've had a few reports of our fire brigade conducting some rescue operations on land, but they would have to make the assessment. From a policy perspective, we have given a directive that during the hurricane, we should, as best as possible, protect our response assets and respond to the most extreme emergency for which the judgment is there would be the possibility of a favorable outcome.
Have you been in touch with President Trump or the American government?
Oh, I've actually received a message from Secretary of State Rubio, and not just the United States, but we've had contact with most of the international community, for which we are grateful. We do intend to mount right after this, the hurricane has passed and it's safe to do so, a credible relief and recovery response, and we would be grateful for support to augment this response so that we can recover even better and stronger than before.
Can you share what Secretary of State Marco Rubio told you? Did they promise aid would come into Jamaica or some type of assistance?
Well, the commitment of the United States would be to support in whatever way they can, whatever way we see fit, and the areas in which we see that we would need assistance. Secretary of State and the President of the United States have always been good to us, and we've always been good and strong partners with the United States. So we're confident that whatever assistance they can render and whatever assistance we deem necessary, there would be a great effort to have that fulfilled.
Do you have any sense of what you're going to need first, whether it be water, food, electrical infrastructure?
Well, you know, the immediate humanitarian response can always be augmented with food, immediate shelter, medicines, those kinds of things. That will be covered in the next 10 days, obviously. But the real help will be in the rebuilding of the infrastructure so we can get our economy back on track and so that we can rebuild a more resilient economy to withstand these more frequent and intense weather events, which is a feature of a changing climate.
Do you have any idea what Jamaica is going to look like tomorrow?
That's a difficult question to answer. To put it at scale, the entire Jamaica was affected by this hurricane, but some areas were more affected. So of our 14 parishes, I expect that 4 of them would have severe damage, and that would be those parishes in the southwestern end of the island. So we're looking at St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, St. James, Trelawney. And then there might be some impacts on Hanover and Mandeville. In the eastern end of the island, we're seeing some damage done in St. Thomas. But generally, there would be an impact right across the island. Roofs would be damaged, roads would be damaged. There would be flooding and landslides. But the concentration would be in that corridor where the hurricane hit.
And then finally, Prime Minister, what is your biggest concern at this hour?
Well, the biggest concern is that residents remain calm, that they stay indoors. I know the impact of the hurricane can be frightening, but no, it's not the time for us to lose our presence of mind. So I appeal to all the residents to stay in and stay safe. We will, at some point, issue the all clear, and then we will mount the recovery and relief response to clear the roads, to make contact with communities that have been marooned, to provide the humanitarian relief, and to assist people with the rebuilding of their homes and businesses.
Prime Minister, we thank you for your time. We will be praying and thinking about the people of your
prayers. And I thank the people of the United States who have reached out to us and prayed for us. Thank you.
And as we continue to track Hurricane Melissa, thousands of tourists unable to get out in time are still stranded on the island nation. That includes Melanie Reynolds from Long Island, New York. She's currently sheltering at her hotel in Montego Bay. She joins us live by phone because the internet is down across much of the island, as you can imagine. Melanie, I'm told you're hunkering down right now inside one of the hotels. The worst of the storm continues to pass over you. Talk to me about what you're seeing and hearing right now, if you can.
Well, right now we're not really hearing a lot. Earlier, it was extremely windy. It almost sounded like it was whistling. We're not really going outside. We've only kind of peeked a couple of times just to see what's going on because we're afraid of getting outside. We have our rooms barricaded, basically, to be in here.
We're seeing some of the video you shot earlier. How bad was it at its peak?
We did look outside, but it sounded horrific.
Yeah. So you have no idea what has happened around you right now?
No, not really. No, we haven't left the room since last night.
Has the hotel communicated anything to you? Are they helping you out with food and water, those kinds of things?
They brought us a bunch of stuff yesterday. They had the buffet open yesterday from around 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. They gave us hurricane packages with fruit, cereal, a granola bar, some cookies, a cup of noodle soup, some milk, a juice. They did bring us extra water. They brought us a bunch of water.